And Ron Paul demonstrated what can happen when the people hear the message of constitutional government. There is sweeping across America today an appreciation, a love, an anticipation that I have not seen in my lifetime for freedom and for constitutional government. The Ron Paul revolution is alive and well and growing, and the Tea Party movements and so many of these other grassroots movements that you're familiar with across the country are nothing more than a continuation and a maturation of what Ron Paul started back in 2008. And this party, the Constitution Party, has had, I think, a great deal of credit in the expressions of limited government and constitutional government, etc., for these many years. And I thank God that we've had an opportunity to expand the message last year in a way that we hadn't had before that. So am I discouraged? No. I think the people are ready for the message. I think they're yearning for the message. I believe they're hanging on to the message, and when they hear it, they're coming on board left and right. But here is where we have to go. In my opinion, and my family and I are absolutely committed to this. As a family, we are dedicated to this. We believe this is the way that we must go into the near future. The founders were so brilliant in this experiment of freedom. Not only did they separate powers at the federal level into three different and distinct branches, as you know, the judicial, the judiciary, and the executive, which were to serve as checks and balances each over the other, which they're not doing, of course, today. But whenever the Constitution was ratified in 1787, the states, the individual sovereign states, as Jefferson said, that these states are and of right ought to be free and independent states. So when the Constitution was ratified, those states did not cease to exist. We did not become one nation, a national government as you have all over the rest of the world. We are a confederation. We still have those free and independent states charged with the responsibility of protecting the rights and the freedoms of the sovereigns of their state, which is we the people. Which means Barack Obama can do nothing to the people of Arizona except the governor, the sheriffs, the courts, and the legislative bodies of this state allow him to do it. It is the states that have the sovereign right to resist tyranny and the usurpation of power in whatever form it demonstrates. That is something the states have always had the power to do, and they still do today. And to think that there cannot be a difference in this area. I don't know how many of you remember back when, ages and ages ago, when Barack Obama first was installed as president. The first president, by the way, in American history to ever take the oath of office without taking that oath on a Bible. You do understand that, do you not? The first oath was not an oath. It was flubbed up. They didn't get it right. They forgot the words. And everybody knew that he had not been sworn in. Everybody knew he had not yet taken the oath on that initial occasion in front of the world. And so he, as at least one other president has had to do in our history, the next day in a private ceremony, he took the real oath and he got the words right in private session without cameras and without public notice. But when he took the real oath, he had no Bible. And he now is the first president of the United States who has ever taken the oath of office without his hand on a copy of the Word of God. Do you recall that when Barack Obama was first sworn in, that one of the first things that his Attorney General Eric Holder said to the media was that the Obama administration was determined that they were going to reinstall the Firearms Act, the assault weapons ban, under Bill Clinton that had since been repealed. The two senators, Democrats, from the state of Montana, wrote a letter that they made available to the public. And as I understand it, also made private phone calls to Mr. Holder and said, "You must understand this. We, the people of Montana, will not allow you to abridge in any shape, manner, or form our right to keep and bear arms, and don't even think about resurrecting the assault weapons ban." Have you heard Mr. Holder say one word about the assault weapons ban since? No, you haven't. They backed up, and it's not an issue. Why? Because two senators, Democrats, from one sovereign state, the state of Montana, drew their line in the sand regarding the Second Amendment and said, don't even think about it. I'll tell you something else about the state of Montana. You remember whenever they were thinking about redefining the Second Amendment in the court case, the Heller case, that was going to define perhaps the right to keep and bear arms as a collective right and not as a personal right. And you remember all the brouhaha around that. Well, the Attorney General, I believe it was, could be the Secretary of State, but I think it was Attorney General from Montana, wrote a letter, again made available to the American people, and said to the courts and to the administration, of course that was in the Bush administration, said, just want you to know, I want to remind you of this little fact of history. When Montana joined the Union back in 1898, I think it was, we signed in our Constitution this compact, this agreement, whenever we became a part of the states, and we said in our official document when we became a part of this union that we respected the right of the people to keep and bear arms, and that we would protect that right as a state no matter what, and that we recognized that the federal government also had in their Constitution the right of the people to keep and bear arms enumerated in that official document. And therefore, because you will protect as a federal government the right to keep and bear arms, and we have already made up our minds that we as a state will protect the right of the people to keep and bear arms, we will become part of this union. However, should you at the federal level, this is in their Constitution, folks, should you, at the federal level, ever determine that the people do not have the right to keep and bear arms, we will consider our contract with this union to be null and void.